What's going on, guys? And welcome to another edition of the American Hotspur here on Stateside Footy. I'm glad that you guys are a part of this one. Unfortunately, it's not exactly under the greatest circumstances, but that being said, Spurs drop a heartbreaker in a penalty shootout to PSG in the UEFA Super Cup after essentially what I considered was one of their better performances we've seen in quite some time. And of course, we're going to get into it in just 1 second. But then again, I really want you guys to make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons because we are in a race to 1,000K. So obviously, man, you guys do your magic and I'll do mine, and we'll meet somewhere in the middle and have a good time, man. But then again, let's go ahead and get into it. All right. So interesting game today, man. Interesting game. And again, it ends in heartbreak. But then again, man, Spurs played incredibly well. When I look at this game, I see about 80 minutes of very good football by Spurs. Actually, as a matter of fact, let's take it another step far. Let's go 85 minutes of very solid, compact defensive football. And they looked absolutely brilliant doing it. As a matter of fact, let's start from here because I think, the lineup actually Thomas Frank has to get some love for this lineup today because it was absolutely a brilliant lineup. They had essentially had a back five today with Pedro Porro, Romero, Danso, Van de Ven, and Jed Spence. And of course, it was, Thomas Frank decides to pull out a 3-5-2 in arguably the biggest game of the preseason. And of course, this is after 3-4 straight matches of a 4-3-3. And it was just absolutely a stroke of brilliance because he understood exactly how PSG was going to line up. He knew exactly that they only had 6 days to prepare. They had a long layoff after the Club World Cup, so they're not coming in exactly running on all cylinders, right? So from that standpoint, Spurs absolutely had an edge in this one. And of course, you're looking at a front, essentially a midfield of it's a 3-5-2, so it's Porro, Betancourt, Polinia, and Spence, and of course you're going to have Kudus and Richarlison up top, and Sarr's you're going to be your underneath playmaker. And by the way, Pap Sarr had himself another beautiful another beautiful goddamn game today. But again, just throwing a monkey wrench into the system, right? He comes out in a 3-5-2 and absolutely pays dividends because one of the things that was clear from the start, not only were Spurs committed, not only in the press, and of course their high press was unbelievable today, but they were so organized in the back. They were so compact in the back. They were deep in the back. And for 85 minutes, Paris Saint-Germain had absolutely no clue on how to break it down. Now, eventually they broke it down, unfortunately. But for the most part, this is exactly what you want to see heading into the start of the Premier League season. Organization, obviously. And then, of course, there were some wrinkles thrown into this one as well, too, because one of the things that I think we were wondering, especially I was wondering today, was where the goals were going to be coming from. Because, again, when you take a look at their match against Bayern Munich, when you took a look at their match against Newcastle, just did not have any feel in the counterattack. Couldn't necessarily put things together. We're trying to, I hate to use this term, but they were trying to throw darts at dartboards, hoping something would stick. And today, as they got their scoring underway, it came in the 37th minute, and Mikey Van de Ven hits home essentially a rebound off a set piece that ricocheted off the crossbar, and he was just Johnny on the spot, right place, right time, and fires it home to give Spurs a 1-0 lead. And for me, this was absolutely brilliant because they win a free kick high, and they turn something out of it, which is not something that this team has absolutely been known for over the course of the last couple of years. And all of a sudden, they're taking advantage of what PSG is willing to give them. And at that point, it was set pieces, and of course, Mikey Van de Ven being in the right position in order to bang this one home. And it starts again with essentially just a beautiful free kick at that point, and Spurs give themselves a little bit of breathing room right after the half in the 48th minute. Again, another set piece goal. And for me, this is absolutely huge because it's, let alone do we, get set piece goals, but we get 2 in the same match. And this comes in the 48th minute as soon as the half starts. And again, they get themselves another set piece. And of course, Romero scores off the header. And now all of a sudden, Spurs find themselves up 2 to the good. And again, it looked like they were going to clear this one out. I'll be the first one to admit I was in the 70th minute thinking that we were going to be able to hold on, because I thought Thomas Frank did himself an absolute, did himself such a great service today by coming out in that formation and just allowing their playmakers on defense to be able just to close down gaps, move into space. Every single time PSG tried to play one in, there was a white shirt on that attacker. And this was just coming in wave after wave after wave. And I was the first one, I guess, today when I was watching it, thinking to myself, you know what, we're gonna end up winning a second trophy. Eventually, as this game got into the 65th minute, and PSG started making some of their subs, you kind of had to feel things were kind of turning, because now all of a sudden this is when the possession battle kind of starts going PSG's way. And not only are they holding the ball for large stretches of the time, but now they're actually getting into dangerous areas. And of course, one of their subs that came on, let's see. Yeah, there it is right there in the 85th minute. Lee scores and to make it 2-1. And again, PSG crowds the box in this one. They get numbers 4. They were able just to get a goal there. And before that, by the way, they had another dangerous, I think it was in the 73rd minute, they had another dangerous opportunity. That one gets wiped out by an offsides. But that being said, they were starting to get numbers forward. They were starting to overload the central part of the pitch, and it ended up paying off in the 85th minute. And then in stoppage time, and I believe it was Ramos that scored in the 90+4 to equalize in stoppage time. And now all of a sudden, instead of actually walking away with the 2-1 victory, now all of a sudden we have to go to penalty shootout, which is never really a good thing. And of course, Dominic Solanke opens things up. Vitinha misses. Betancourt scores to put him up 2-0 in the shootout. And now all of a sudden it looks like we got ourselves a nice little edge. And then, Ramos scores to make it 2-1. Van de Ven missed. Dembele scored. Tell misses, which was just absolutely disgusting. And then Lee scores. Pedro equalizes, and Mendes wins it. And that's all she wrote. Now, here's the positives. This is the positives. That number one, if this is what we're going to look like in the Premier League, then I'm absolutely thrilled. Because, again, not only were we compact, we were organized. It looks like there was proper leadership on the pitch. And again, it looked like everybody understood their assignment and were able to step up and essentially erase PSG from this match for a good 85 minutes. Right? We're talking about the best team in Europe right now. And I get it. They hadn't trained but for 5-6 days, had an extended period off after the Club World Cup. This team was rusty, and it showed. But that being said, they showed absolutely no fear in defending. Also, they were absolutely brilliant in the high press. They were not letting PSG get forward with consistency. Not only were they able to high press, but they were able to create turnovers high. And I like that, because not only does it lead to set pieces, but it also leads to goals. And that was something that made me smile today. Now, do we need help? Yeah, of course we need help. I think that kind of goes without saying. But you can see that the foundation is going to be there. And it seems like now that Spurs can score goals as a group. I don't necessarily think it's going to be one guy that's going to do it, or a collection of like 2 or 3. I actually think this is probably going to have to be a group effort this year. But at least they got 50% of the equation taken care of, which is defense. Sound, organized, compact defense that is going to be able to erase attackers off the pitch. That's the good news. The bad news in this one is the fact that they couldn't close it out. And, I was talking to a friend of mine today who said, well, yeah, but we beat Manchester United. And it's like, dude, it's Manchester United. That was not a good team last year with Manchester United. Now, to be fair, neither were we. But that being said, we got hot at the right time and we were able to get into that final and we closed it out. Fair enough. But it's Manchester United. This is the best team in Europe. And even with only 5-6 days of training, you probably figured at some point they would figure out a way to work their way into this match. Did I think that it was going to come in the 85th, in the 94th minute? I did not. I actually thought that once we were up 2, even if we leaked 1, we would still be able to hold this one out. But it still shows that in big moments, in pressure moments, against the best teams in Europe, there's still some work to do. There's still some work to do. Now, the good news is it seems like this group is a resilient group, and that's actually the good news. And it seems to me that Thomas Frank has this team believing that they can actually win these matches, these type of big matches, and that actually gets me encouraged moving forward. Now, do I think that these 2 goals were anybody's fault? No, I just think that really when you look at the complexity of the match and you actually understood that once PSG got a bulk of their subs off and then they kind of, showed their, flexed their muscle and showed their speed a little bit. Okay, for me it was like, yeah, it sucks. It sucked. I mean, for me, it's like it's PSG. I don't think anyone's really to blame. I just think that the magnitude of what PSG is, what they've been, where they've been in the course of the last 10 years, they played in big time games, not only in Ligue 1, but also in the Champions League as well too. And they've closed out some of the best. They've learned how to close out some of the best clubs in Europe. And tonight was no different, right? They just have winning DNA in their team. Period, point blank. They just know how to do it. And it's something that we have to learn as a club. And the only way that we're going to be able to do that is obviously, 1, have the belief that we can get there again, and 2, understanding the moment and not necessarily allowing crunch time to actually get the better view. And I actually think that's what happened today. I personally, yes, it was a combination of PSG, but it was also understanding the moment and understanding that we're not playing Manchester United. It just is what it is, man. And of course, it was a heartbreaker because, we were in the driver's seat. We were up 2. Like, there's no excuses, and I'm not really trying to make them. We lost. Not only did we concede too late, but then we were up 2. We were essentially up 2-0 in the shootout, and all we had to do was score 2 more to close it out. And Chevalier, essentially guessed right in this first three penalty kicks. And Mikey Van de Ven, didn't help himself after scoring the first. Essentially kicks it straight into Chevalier, and then Matisse Delman. I like the kid, but in a clutch moment like that, you have to score. You have to score that penalty. Period. I mean, you can't dance, you can't shuck and jive. You just have to put the ball in the back of the net. And unfortunately for him, man, we still had an opportunity to win it. That's all I'll say. We still had an opportunity to win it, and we just couldn't close it out. And so from that standpoint, it's all on us. 100%, it's all on us. I don't think there's any way around it. But, I hope this is a learning experience. That's what I will say. I hope this is a learning experience because, again, I thought Spurs were the better team today for a large portion of this game. And even when it was kind of getting a little dicey, I thought maybe this team was going to be able to step up and close this thing out. But again, that's football, man. And you have to understand that, against a team like PSG, man, you can't be sloppy in big moments, man. And that's really what it came down to. And I felt I felt like they were on the cusp of scoring when they had that call whistled offsides. But it is what it is. And at the end of the day, man, no excuses. And now we're on to Burnley Saturday afternoon. Before we get into it, I do have a few things I want to talk about pertaining to some transfer news. And let's get into it real quick because I think I believe that so yeah. All right, let's start with Savino. Because the fee has been agreed upon. Now, right, so essentially what I'm saying is the fee between Manchester City and Spurs have been agreed upon, and I'm told that number is 64.5 million plus. $64.5 million pounds. And so right now it's the issue of player and club. But what I'm told is that Savino is probably most likely 100% going to be a member of Tottenham Hotspur, unless Spurs drastically lowball him when it comes to personal wages. I can't see anything. I can't see anything stopping that deal, and that gives that will give Thomas Frank his left wing, and it's going to be absolutely needed. Savino is the type of player who's good on both feet, likes to cut in on his right foot, just like pretty much every single left wing likes to do as well too. But that being said, he's the type of guy that's got a pretty good strike rate. Also can score goals. But I think really when you're really looking at what he's going to bring, is going to be a balance on that front line, and it's going to be something that Dominic Solanke is going to benefit from. Because as of right now, when Thomas Frank is trying to play a 4-2-3-1, playing a double pivot with just a solo high 10, defenses right now are just overloading the right. They understand that Mohamed Kudus right now is probably our best player on the ball. And so we saw that numerous times against Arsenal, Newcastle, and Bayern Munich. And so now getting somebody on the left side like Savino is going to at least draw attention to that left side, and it's going to stop defenses from seriously trying to key in on Mohamed Kudus, right? But what this team absolutely needs is still a number 10, and that's where Eberechi Eze comes in. Because of course I was told that Thomas Frank absolutely loves him. Spurs are willing to spend money to get him, and Eberechi Eze is not closing the door to Tottenham Hotspur. Now, I heard the number was 68 million, but Spurs, this season, this preseason have numerously said on numerous occasions that they'd be willing to spend up to 70 million. So that's what I will say is that they're not opposed to it. Let me pull up my actual link real quick, and I'll explain it to you for the way it was explained to me real quick. Let's go here. Boop, boop, boop. Let's go. Give me 1 second, guys, and I do apologize. Come on. I gotta get into my contacts real quick. Contacts. Yeah, so, all right. So I heard that as of right now, that Eberechi Eze, you're looking at about a fee of about 65 million pounds. 65 plus add-ons. Crystal Palace wants 68. I'm sure they're going to be able to figure this one out. Not only does Eberechi Eze, not only is he okay with the move to Tottenham, but Thomas Frank absolutely loves him. And I don't see how this deal doesn't get done at this stage. I will again try to search for it, but bear with me real quick. We have Audio Artisan. He says, "Evening, Steve. I think there are a lot of positive takes from that game. Back 3-5 formation looks pretty solid considering we haven't played it all preseason. Kudus was the beast. Danto too. Yeah. Actually, we did play a little bit of it in our first match against Reading. Played it in the first half, but yes, for the most part, we were playing in essentially a 4-2-3-1 double pivot for a good portion of the preseason. But again, that's what I love about Thomas Frank. It's thrown curveballs right at the last minute, right, and he kept it close to his vest until it was time to release the lineups, and I'm sure that's when Enrique found out. Didn't necessarily have time to adjust, and because of it, we actually ended up having the advantage. One of the things, Audio, that I really appreciated about today's game is we were the better team today, and it sucks because it's football, but we were the better team today for a good portion of this match. One of the things that I liked personally was the fact that we were organized, we were compact. We were deep on the defensive side, but we were so good off the ball. So damn good off the ball. And our movement was good. Whenever we had a member pressing, you saw the adjustment underneath it a little bit. So they couldn't necessarily play their way out of it, because as soon as the ball moved, we had somebody moving right along with them. And so it made it difficult. It made it absolutely difficult for PSG to move up the pitch. Now, that's not to say that they didn't move up the pitch. They did, but every single time they got into position to try to break us down, guess what? Couldn't break us down. Now, again, one of the things that still concerns me is the ability to get forward. We're still not getting forward consistently enough. Now, the cool part is today is because of the high press, we were able to create turnovers high up the pitch, and so our counterattack started in an advantageous position, and PSG had no choice but to essentially foul us, creating opportunities with set pieces, and because of it, we scored 2. I don't know about you, man, but for me, that's a sign of good things that we're able to score off of set pieces, something that we have just not been good at. I can't remember how long it's been since we've been able to do something like that. So from that standpoint, there was a lot of positives to take out of this one. Now, again, I hate losing. I really do. I hate losing more than I like winning. But if you're going to lose, you want to go out playing 100%, and I think that they did. Were there mistakes? Fuck yes, there were mistakes. And I don't think anybody can look at this and say that, that we were. I don't think anybody can look at this and say that we didn't. I'll just say that because we did. I think we got a little sloppy there at the end. And again, I think it goes back to the fact that, number one, this is PSG, not Manchester United. They're the best team in Europe as of right now. They know how to win. They know how to close out some of the best teams in Europe. And we're in the Super Cup for the first time in how long? So, and we don't know how to close out a team like PSG. That's it. That's really what it comes down to. These are the things that we have to learn how to do. Now, again, all of this comes with experience, and all of this is going to come with playing in big games throughout the course of the season. And that means cup ties. If we can actually get to the semifinals again, or even to Wembley and get into those big atmospheres, these type of losses are going to help us there. Even in the Champions League, it's going to help us. And I do agree, man. We did look like a proper team today. I do agree with that. But again, as of right now, we still got a couple more weeks left to the to the transfer deadline until the until the window shuts. And right now we have to get somebody over the line. And I think it's going to be Savino first. And I think that they're going to work on Eberechi. But I also think that it wouldn't be surprising me if we ended up with El Canus, because he's somebody that Spurs absolutely want. Let me actually do something real quick. Let's go. Give me 1 second, guys. As we welcome, look at this. Look who's here, man. It's Adrian. What's going on, my guy? It's good to see you. First and foremost, Adrian, how did you think today's match went? Because I actually thought there were more positives than negatives. Really, when I break this down, I love the fact that Thomas Frank had no problem rolling out a 3-5-2. And I actually think our shape was good for the entire match. Really, I mean, we were the best. We were the best team for 85 minutes. One of the things that I appreciated was the fact that we were so compact and so organized defensively, man. Right? For me, that was it. We were deep. We were so good off the ball, and we were so good pressing high up the pitch. That PSG, we made it hard for PSG to get forward, which is what you want to see. And in the in the midst, we were able to create so many turnovers that when we started our counterattack, we were higher up the pitch. They had no choice but to put us in position for set pieces. And by the way, we scored 2 set piece goals today. And I can't remember the last time that happened. Maybe you can, Adrian. But from that standpoint, we were in the driver's seat. But that being said, man, it's PSG. It's Paris Saint-Germain, the best team in Europe. And they close out. They know how to close out against the best teams in the world. We saw it this summer, even in the Club World Cup, closing out Real Madrid in the semifinals. This team just is good. Very, very good. And it did, that's the thing. It's I remember I was thinking to myself coming into it, we're going to have to play perfect just to have a shot in this one. But chances are pretty good they're going to figure it out at the end. Sure enough, that's exactly what happened. As soon as they made their subs and you saw that pace on the pitch, they put their foot on the gas, so to speak. And they were able to get 2 goals, 1 late, and they were able to get it out, over the line in the shootout. And what bugs me even more is it's okay, fine. So, okay, fine, you equalize, and then we go into the shootout. But we were up 2-0 at one point in the shootout. And I can excuse Mikey Moore. I can excuse Scott Mikey Moore. Mickey Van de Ven's. I can excuse his miss in the shootout. I can definitely do that. But Matisse Tell, man, that's a heartbreaker. And I don't want to. I'm definitely not going to shit talk any of our players, because I don't necessarily think that's acceptable. But what I will say is in these positions, right, you have to be comfortable and you have to be familiar with it, right? And I think the more experienced players showed exactly what it takes to win these type of shootouts, which was Dominic Solanke, Pedro Porro, and Rodrigo Betancourt. There's a reason. There's a reason why they say experience matters. And today, that certainly ended up being true. But that being said, what I will say is that for the most part, this was a good loss. I'll just say it like that, because if this is what we look like heading into the Premier League season, then this is actually this has the makings of what I would expect to be a pretty good year, because we're organized. The leadership showed itself today, which is something that we didn't see last season. When the pressure mounted and we were faced with adversity last season, we folded so quick. And what I liked about today is you saw the leadership, and you saw our players today were on the same page, which is a breath of fresh air. And he says there's so many yeah, I agree, mate. I really do. And he said we didn't lose the game. It's the little things though, right, Adrian? And I'm sure you can go back. And I'm sure you've seen very good to great Spurs teams that knew how to close out big games. And when I look at this team and I see the age of the squad, I think good things are coming. I really do. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Frank did get his tactics right for this game. Give me 1 second real quick. So, yeah, that's the interesting thing, right? I know that you're a big fan of the double pivot, and I think it's appropriate against certain teams. But that being said, I was wondering when he was going to pull out the 3-5-2 and just use the speed. You know what I mean? And that's what was impressive today, man. Just the overall team speed and the way that they were just settling in and getting back and pushing forward, man. I liked the two wing backs today. I actually think it gave Spurs a different element that I think is actually possibly a little bit better than what we're actually showing when we're playing a 4-2-3-1, because defenses literally just camp out on the right hand side. They just overload on the right and take Mohamed Kudus out of the match, and then we just have nothing else to offer. At least with this, we actually have speed on the left hand side with Jed Spence, and I thought Jed Spence played well today. I thought he was getting forward perfectly, man. There he is right there. Peter Cahagias is in the group tonight, man. Good to see you, Peter. Hope everything is well with you out in Melbourne. But yeah, Adrian, you bring up a very good point. It was something that I probably didn't think Luis Enrique was expecting, and I didn't think PSG adapted to it well. Let's see. Give props to Richie. He put it on a good shift. Yeah, from what I saw, he was okay. This was the dress rehearsal, right? This was the dress rehearsal for the Premier League. And so from that standpoint, I think he did well. Me personally, that's what I like about the 3-5-2, because he had underneath help today. And I actually think Pape Sarr played well today too. Pape Sarr over the course of the last couple of games has probably been our best player. If I have to be perfectly honest with it, I think he is. He really has been. And I thought today he was kind of dangerous. What else? But again, this is what gets me excited for the Premier League, because our schedule is light. Our schedule for the first 2 months of the season is incredibly light outside of getting Pep Guardiola. I think we play Manchester City 3 or 4 matches in. I can't remember. I have to look at the schedule again. But outside of that, until we hit November, there's a good chance that we could put up, anywhere between 16 to 18 points on the board, if not better. I just think we're a better team than the team. I think we're a better team than what is going to be offered in the first couple months of the season. And if we actually get our lineups right in the cup ties, there's going to be a potential where we may be able to potentially get to Wembley as well too. Like, I'm excited for this. Today was exactly what I wanted to see. Let's see. He says, Kudus didn't excite me. Why not? Let me know. The interesting thing is that Kudus, I thought in pockets looked pretty good today. Did he? I'm curious to know why he didn't excite you today. Just out of curiosity. But the reality was that I think Kudus was kind of playing that inside forward position, and it looked like Papsar was kind of in that creative midfield role today. But they were, for me, it was that two-headed monster of Betancourt and Polina. Man, those guys were really good. But again, when I think about today's match, I see more positives than negatives. I would have liked the win. But again, if you're going to lose, I think you like seeing the team go down like this because at least they gave 100% today. And again, they were the best team on the field today by far. Audio Watterson says, I think Sarr sees the chance to nail down a spot in the first 11, especially after Basuma keeps effing up. Here's the interesting thing about this one, Audio, is right now Pap Sarr is our starting 10 right now. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we don't have another 10 lineup. And as far as like a rotation between him and maybe Lucas Bergvall, you see the difference in quality between the two. And I think you're right. I think he probably starts on Saturday. I don't see how he doesn't start. The question is, what formation are they going to roll with? Right. I kind of like this 3-5-2. I think it suits the team just far better because in some aspects you don't need to carry a 10 playing a 3-5-2. But I digress. But that being said, I think Pap was great today. Let's see. He goes and says, we didn't lose the game. Penalties are a lottery. Correct. It is very correct. And the interesting thing was it wasn't necessarily just the misses by Van de Ven and Matisse Tell. It was also Vicario. You saw the difference. I wouldn't say quality. Quality is not the right word, but you saw the difference in IQ between Chevalier and Vicario. And those first three attempts by Spurs, Chevalier was guessing right every single time. And I think I heard the announcer saying something about how his PSG mates were telling him which way to go. I don't know. I was kind of hoping that could have rang true for Spurs, but for me, it didn't look like Vicario was comfortable in that shootout today. It looked like he was a little tentative in that one. But you're absolutely right. It is a shootout. It is a crapshoot when it comes to shootouts. But to recap. 100%, Adrian. 100%. I think he got everything right today. 100%. Thomas Frank probably deserves the most credit today. The interesting thing is that, again, before I close this one down, we have about 2 weeks before the transfer window closes shut. And I would probably assume that we're going to hear about Savino first. When we're going to hear about it, I would probably guess within the next 48 hours. If I had to take a wild guess, it looks like the only thing that's holding that up is the personal terms between player and club. It looks like Spurs and City have agreed on a fee. And the other one is Eberechi Eze. Now the question is whether or not Spurs are going to pay the fee, right? Because I heard today that the number I think the number that I heard was £68 million That's what Crystal Palace wants. But that being said, Spurs have already showed interest in spending far more than that. And if they can get Eze for 68, I think that's actually, considering everything that we've been through as a squad during the summer transfer window, I think that would actually be a good signing. But don't be surprised if it ends up being El Khanous. I think El Khanous is probably going to be the guy. Something just tells me that's going to be El Khanous, considering that I keep hearing that it's El Khanous. Audio Artisan says that I think Spence had a quality game, a lot of good tackles and blocks. Yeah, plus he was good going forward as well too. Spence is probably our best on the ball defender right now. He's so good, and he's very good in the attack as well too. He says, I think Savino by Monday, Eze later. It all depends. It all depends, right? He's still holding out for Arsenal. But that being said, it all depends on what kind of money that Spurs are willing to throw him, because I think at this stage it's really, if he can get to that 200,000 pound a week threshold, I think he comes, and Spurs have to be prepared to do that. But all right, so again, great match today. It sucks, but that being said, there's a lot to build off on. And one of the things that I actually am looking forward to is the start of this Premier League season, because if this is the team that we are going to see consistently week in and week out, for me at least, that gives me hope, because again, showing the ability not only to be compact on defense and being organized on defense, but also being able to win the ball back high up pitch, being able to get themselves in good set piece situations, and being able to close out set pieces. Let me tell you, this is good. This has a potential to be something special. But that being said, man, it's a heartbreaker though. But we have to learn how to close out games. Period. That was the difference. That's the difference between a team like PSG and a team like Spurs. We still have to learn how to do that. And maybe we'll find out what we're made of in the Champions League. Who knows? Let's see. Arsenal need to sell, having spent 192. Yeah, you're right. And I don't think they're going to get it done. Just my thought. Don't think they're going to get it done. All right, so here's what's going to happen for the rest of the week on Stateside Footy. On Friday, the American Hotspur returns again for a Premier League, a Spurs season preview, and I'm working on a few guests, so I got to make sure that those get locked in. And on Saturday, of course, we have the Hotspur watch along, Spurs versus Burnley, as we kick off the 2025-2026 season. And then, of course, this weekend we have the MLS live stream as well too, as that gets back underway before the knockout rounds of the Leagues Cup commence, which I actually think that actually happens. So yeah, we'll be back this week when it comes to Major League Soccer as well too. So there's going to be a lot of coverage here on Stateside Footy, mainly a lot of Tottenham Hotspur content, but that's what this channel is, right? So for as much as it is American football, it also is Spurs football as well too. I do want to thank everybody for stopping by today. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons, because we are on a race for 1,000 subs. The quicker we can get there, the quicker everything works better. And of course, make sure you hit me up on the old interweb, on X at Stateside Footy, and of course on TikTok at the exact same name. So I will see you I'll see you guys on Friday. You guys take care. Have a great night, guys.